Hi everyone in English 1301, it's Dr. E and I'm here with an instructional video for the written response assignment. So we've previously completed one of these writings, but that was a little less formal. We were just kind of getting engaged in the semester, working through some, shaking off the cobwebs when it comes to writing. So we're now moving into the more formalized assignments. I want you to keep the goal in mind, which is really to actively engage in not only the readings, but thinking about those things critically and then putting them into, your own writing with your own ideas, right? So we're going to use these assignments later in a formal writing collection. We don't have to think about that just now, but I want you to see where this is going, right? So we will revise our responses based on my feedback, put them together, reflect on the writing, and then create a works cited. Okay, so again, this is coming later. Don't worry about that just yet. I just want you to see how this all works. So we also need to really focus on pushing past summary, because sometimes that's just the easy go-to because we work a lot with summarizing throughout our educational careers, right? But we need to just kind of push our ideas a bit more than that, okay? So let's talk about the format so you can kind of get a sense of what's expected. For each response, you're going to upload a document and it needs to be in the proper format, right? And you'll put that in the assignment area of D2L and it will relate to that week's particular prompt. I will give you a template. Please use the template. There's no reason to go through the frustration of setting up your document according to MLA guidelines. And in fact, some of the things I've been grading are not in MLA format. So this is just, please use the template. End of diatribe here. All right, so each entry is going to have the week number, the text title, and then the author's name. So that's just getting, the basics out of the way. And I put here for our course, Lunsford can be the author that you refer to if we are responding to and engaging with a chapter from our course text. Sometimes we will be using some of those articles that I, give us to think about. So while using these things, you should put the titles in quotation marks. Okay, that's just MLA formatting. And we really want to make sure that as we write and think, we are giving the credit to the author for any ideas, referring to any page numbers, all of that good stuff. Below all of this information, you're going to answer the prompt. And I put, this is not necessarily a formal essay. I want you to think about this as an extension of our discussion posts, those discussions that we have. You're only going to submit it to me, right? So this is a discussion post, but it's just for my eyes. And you are writing the same amount, but usually a bit more because you're given more time for this. And I will be able to provide you with more direct feedback because I can comment on your document. You'll have a prompt that's related to a particular text, video, or something that's from that week. And you will more than likely be required to utilize quotes to support your idea. So this is where we are not only moving beyond just kind of writing and thinking about our writing, but then bringing in research to support our ideas. So we're easing into that more formalized academic writing, okay? All right, so quotes are typically required, and that will be included in the prompts. Remember to always use quotation marks to be very accurate. Your typed text of a quote needs to look exactly like it looks on the page that you lifted it from, right? And you need to give credit. So just do everything you can to make sure you are being as specific and as accurate as possible. And you'll want to use in-text citation format. So this is something I cover in the MLA video. Please go back and rewatch that or watch that for the first time if you need to. I know you all have all watched it and took notes and have even played it every single night because it's so entertaining. But yeah, there's also a link here to the Purdue Online Writing Lab website for all kinds of examples. You always want to explain your quotes. One of my pet peeves, and indeed most professors have this pet peeve when quotes are just kind of thrown into a paragraph. They don't have any apparent connection. There may be a connection in your mind that's really incredible, but without that explanation, we may not see it. Okay, so think about, why is it important? Why is it a quote that you chose? Part of what we do is not only giving credit to authors for their ideas, but we also include quotes from other sources to support our own ideas. excuse me, so a full works cited is not necessary, so don't worry about that yet. That's coming later for our whole writing collection. Here is a grading rubric that just covers the general ideas. I'm going to pause one moment. So a big part of our goal is to critically engage with the prompt and then relate to the text that we are reading for that particular week. So I want you to note that we're actually moving into a part of the semester where we will discuss the theme of food, because food is something that we can all relate to on some sort of level. I do know that food's not the favored topic for some folks, and that there are certainly struggles with food and food insecurity, or just different elements of food, and I understand that, but I'm asking you to just try to think of it and write in it in such a way. And you can always reach out to me directly if you are worried about this as a general topic. All right, so we want to stay, of course, in this column right here. So we want to reveal depth and show our understanding of the author's ideas. We want to stay away from generalizations and summary. This is something that I see a lot in writing, especially at the start of the semester, where there are these really broad statements. So writing is everything in our lives. That's just really broad, right? We don't need to utilize those kinds of approaches in college writing, and particularly because some of our writing is not 15 pages, right? So you don't need to ease into your topic. You need to get right to it, okay? So I want you to just start thinking about those paragraphs that we're writing, and start each paragraph with a topic sentence. And in that topic sentence, you should essentially see it as a mini thesis statement, right? It is giving your audience an idea of what that entire paragraph is going to be about. Now, you're not going to write, okay, this paragraph is going to be about X. No, you're going to have a sentence that really introduces the idea, and then the rest of the paragraph is connected in some way, and you're using quotes to support your ideas, right? You're not writing towards the quote. You're actually just using those to support. Okay? All right. All right, let me pause. I'm having animal issues per usual. Okay, and unless otherwise noted, there needs to be at least one quote, but typically I'm going to give you an idea. So it'll be, one quote per paragraph, that kind of thing. But when it comes to formatting, the explanation is clear, no editing is needed, that kind of thing. Okay, so those are, again, just the kind of general ideas, but I also wanted to give you a sense of how this all works, right? So I created some images that I thought might be helpful in thinking about, because this sometimes confuses students, and I really want to try to avoid that as much as possible. So you have the written responses and then the writing collection. And so how are these connected, right? So you're going to write a few written responses over the course of our semester, okay, every couple of weeks. And for these, you'll get feedback from me, okay? And then later, you're going to then revisit those responses. You're going to revise them based on my feedback, based on you going back with fresh eyes. You're then going to submit those in a single document along with some new information that will be required. And that's what's identified as the writing collection. So don't get these assignments confused. I tried to name them a bit differently. We have the written responses and then the actual writing collection. So here is a visual, say we have 3 per semester, okay? These are separate topics, separate prompts, that kind of thing. But then later in the semester, you take these and then you'll work to revise them in a single document, and that is your writing collection. Or you can consider it a portfolio. Some of you may have experience with portfolios before. So this will be a much larger grade than, the separate written responses. This will require a works cited. The written response does not. So you're also going to get a handout and a video specifically for this, but I don't want you to start worrying about that just yet. It's just not the time, okay? All right, so this is your written response template, so please use it. Like I said, as usual, you just double tap up here, put your last name, double tap outside of that. Make sure you're updating all of this information. You put the title in quotation marks, so you just take this and put something like and then And then it's all spaced properly. There's not extra space between paragraphs. Some folks want to put a space between all their paragraphs. Please don't do that. And make sure that you're using the tab key to indent those paragraphs. That's just basic MLA. There's nothing fancy about this, y'all. There's nothing bolded. There's nothing underlined. There's not extra space anywhere. It's just boring. So just lean into it. It's really, we're focusing on your ideas and how great those are. Looking at your writing, not looking at anything fancy on the page necessarily. Okay, I put a little set of notes here. Remember to double check that your document meets those guidelines. Be sure to indent all paragraphs, all of that kind of stuff. Make sure that your text is left justified. I've been grading some papers that look something like this, or even this. But mostly the papers that I look at that are still kind of frustrating look like this. Let me push this again. So off the top, you're probably thinking, well, that looks double-spaced. Dr. E, what's going on? On the right-hand side of the page, the text should not line up. On the left side, it should. That's what we want. We want left justified. But on the right side of the page, we don't want it to line up because then it leads to weird spacing between certain words. It throws off the formatting for the rest of the document. So I want you to see the space between this word, like your document. Okay, and then I'm going to put left justified, and I want you to keep focused on that. Ooh. Let me make sure I am highlighting it all. Sorry. So focus on the space between year and document. Okay, see how the space becomes smaller and then the text on this side is not lined up. Okay, so just a few reminders about that. Also, please make sure that you're saving your document as a particular name. Do not just save the document in the name like written response template. You will inevitably upload the wrong document. So name it my first written response, or something that is individual to you and makes it easy to find on your computer or device so that you can then upload it. Remember that D2L will send you a confirmation email when you've submitted something successfully, and you can even click on the blue name of your document and it should open what you've uploaded and you can double check it. If you see some weird things with the spacing when you click on that blue link, it's just D2L. If it's something where you know you submitted it in the right format, then just go with your gut. I don't know why D2L does that. It's just one of the many things that's frustrating about it. Anyhow, so if you have any questions or concerns about this assignment, please double check these guidelines. Let me know. But take a look at the prompt for our next written response and think through it with these kinds of guidelines in mind. All right, take care.